All right, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we'll do is introductions.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nick Holloway, Deputy DES Coordinator with Missoula County Office of Emergency Management.
Ben Slater, Lieutenant with the Missoula Police Department.
Bob Campbell, City Council.
Good afternoon, Randy Ocon, Missoula County Office of Emergency Management Project Coordinator and Deputy Fire Warden.
I'm Nikki Adams, Emergency Management Coordinator for Rocky Mountain Labs.
Gary Zimmerman, Western Montana Healthcare Coalition.
Steffi Novak, Missoula Community Emergency Response Team.
Tim Jacobs, Missoula Community Emergency Response Team.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Kirsten Brinkley. I'm a district field officer with Montana Disaster and Emergency Services.
Hi, I'm Allie Kane. I am the Climate Action Program Coordinator for Missoula County.
Caitlin Nielsen, St. Patrick Hospital.
Jake Ashbrook, Chief Safety Officer for Mountain Line.
Corey Hafner, Plant Manager of Thatcher Chemical Company.
Good afternoon, Jeanette Smith, Public Information Officer, Missoula County Sheriff's Office.
Chris Clark, Community Medical Center.
Thank you. Angela Gebhardt, City of Missoula Public Works.
Tim DeFors, Missoula County Citizen Representative.
Dave Strohmeyer, Missoula County Commissioner.
Dave Howe, Missoula County Search and Rescue.
Matt Mill, CHS Pipeline Terminal Manager.
Andy Nelson, CHS Pipelines Terminals Public Relations Manager.
Winnie Lohoff, Community Disaster Program Manager for Southwest Montana with the American Red Cross.
Olivia Anderson with Missoula County Wildfire Mitigation Program.
Jerry Sarabia, Missoula County Wildfire Mitigation Program Assistant Manager.
Trent Drinkwalter, University of Montana Environmental Health and Safety.
Leanne Allegretto, National Weather Service, Missoula, Hydrologist, Meteorologist.
Thanks. I'm TJ Hagemo, Yellowstone Pipeline, Phillips 66 Operation Supervisor. The next thing on the agenda is the election of officers.
So in keeping with tradition, we will elevate the vice chair from last year to the chair position. So Ben Slater was the chair for last year, and we'll have him come up and take that position and then call for an election for vice chair for this year. Come on up, Ben. Thank you. And TJ, thanks you for your service for the last year. There you go.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Ben Slater. I'm a lieutenant with the Missoula Police Department. Thank you for this opportunity. It sounds as though now is the time to be able to open for the election of a vice chair. So at this point, I think we're entertaining any nominations for vice chair.
So, Mr. Chair, we'd like to nominate Caitlin Nielsen from St. Patrick Hospital for the vice chair position.
I see Kate. And one more time, another nomination, or is that a second of the nomination? And a second. Fantastic. Any other nominations? Seeing at this time nominations are closed with the single candidate, is Caitlin present and does she accept such things? Fantastic. Welcome aboard, Caitlin. Moving to the next agenda item. The next item I see here is time for public comment. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. Prior to this meeting, Nick has been fantastic, as well as everybody from his office in providing out documentation. Minutes from last meeting were sent out both by email and I believe are available at the back table. At this time, I'd be entertaining any motions to approve minutes from last meeting. I see a request to approve by the councilperson and a second. And so we will approve the minutes from last meeting.
So the next item on the agenda is a floodplain mapping update. And unfortunately, Matt Heimel is not here today, and he will catch us up on that project during the next LEPC meeting, if not sooner. So we'll go past that agenda item.
Thank you. So the next item on our agenda would be an update from the National Weather Service.
Green is good. Hello, Leanne Allegretto, National Weather Service, Missoula. Prior to this, Nick said he'd like me to go over the month of December, which was pretty crazy. Depending on which county you were in, it was more crazy than others. But here, we kind of missed out on a little bit, just a little. But I wanted to kind of go over first what the National Weather Service's loose interpretation of how we do things and how we get to the point of notifying the people in charge. Most individuals in here, or those helping at EOCs, at state emergency centers, et cetera. And for the month of December, it was kind of nonstop. And not only that, I decided to take some leave, and that was right during the atmospheric river, and that was horrible. So that was a no-no. But aside from that, the high impact wind event will start here because Missoula did see more impacts from that than the atmospheric moisture portion of the atmospheric river. So what we typically tend to do in these situations is days in advance, we're looking at the forecast. And if we start to see things really lining up, there's a high confidence in what we're forecasting, we'll start to message it. It'll take on the shape of a high impact email, which we'll send out to emergency folks in the community that is of concern. We'll start making phone calls. We'll start doing face-to-face with either briefings, webinars, et cetera, getting on direct calls. We do daily briefings, sometimes twice a day, or at their request, whoever needs it, whenever they need it. And then once that goes forward and the event's panning out, then it's whatever they need from us. And so it's kind of forecast updates, answering questions, getting the latest. If it's, if you're in Libya, it was a hydrograph. If you're in Missoula with the wind, it's direct phone calls with updates and that sort of thing. And so this is kind of the process to give an idea of how we do that. It looks like this most times, but you can scatter a few things around and it would be essentially the same. It's get a forecast, feel good about the forecast, communicate the forecast, and then give updates. It's pretty much the 4 steps. Forward. So with regards to the December 16th and 17th wind event, I'm sure many people in here don't need me to say that it was crazy, depending on where you were at. I do have a few wind speeds on the left, the top ones. Mount Sentinel gusted to 99 multiple times, didn't quite get the 100 verified, but we got 99, which is fine. Sustained wind speeds of 76 miles an hour at times. That was the highest in the area, and then there's some bullets down, you can see anywhere from 61 at the Missoula airport up to 88 in Stevensville, and scattered amongst the area. The impacts were obviously power and utility, which was hardest hit in Missoula. I think despite Ravalli County, 30% of the county was without power, 49% of Lincoln County and 45% of Flathead County at any given time, they were without power, but I think the Missoula grid was hit the hardest. And, schools were closed, structures were destroyed, roads were blocked, you name it, it happened. And it's kind of interesting from a meteorological standpoint because this did come after the rainfall or with additional rainfall. And it kind of primed the soil, which I'll show in an upcoming slide. And, you know, you have winds of this speed anyway, it's going to clear out trees. But then when you moisten up the soil and you don't have anything to hold it together, it's going to blow over much more than usual. So we saw that happen. So that was pretty widespread, and it was almost the entire west of the divide and east of the divide. They were clocking 100 plus over east of the divide. So it was the result of a cold front that undercut the atmospheric river. So if you think atmospheric rivers usually come with a lot of wind and a lot of rain, we could hope for snow, but it usually warms things up. And then if you have a cold front on top of it, it's like a 1-2 punch. So that's essentially what ended up happening. So what happened with the atmospheric river? We deal with a lot of equations. I thought this one was the most digestible. Heavy rain, prolonged warmth, melting snow is not great. It's bad. So that's what happened, and it happened again and again and again and again. And I want to give special kudos to our drought because it's basically the only thing that saved Missoula County. So what happened was back-to-back atmospheric rivers, and I'm just talking about the two in this time frame. There was an additional 1.5 that happened after this, but it cooled down. So the 8th through the 12th, this is exactly when I took leave. So that was, they let me hear about it in the office as a hydrologist. I'm getting a name made for myself every time I leave. It floods, and it's kind of true. So 5 to 6.5 inches fell in 24 hours, which is phenomenal even for somewhere on the East Coast. But for us, it's crazy. And that was all concentrated in Western Lincoln County, which I know there were some folks here that were stationed up there. I was in talks with them quite a bit. I was doing twice a day brief. Well, I was doing one, and then our office was doing twice a day with email updates and multiple phone calls. But this was the third wettest 24-hour period in 44 years at the Bear Mountain Snowtel, which is impressive. Most of the snow that fell melted, or the snow levels rose from about 6,000 feet to above 8,000 feet, which contributed to the melting snow portion of this broadcast. And then, so all of this, it just kept going, and it concentrated right over Lincoln County. Now, we originally thought that Clearwater and Idaho counties in Idaho would get it, and they did, but it shifted just far enough north that this perfect combination ended up being not so perfect for the poor folks in Lincoln County. That being said, Missoula County kind of lucked out, if you want to say that. It did prime the soil, but it wasn't enough water, so to speak, to raise the river levels. We'd have looked a lot more like Western Washington if we'd have been at regular river levels. So we did kind of have some luck on our side there. Forward. This is our support during the atmospheric river event. Lincoln County EOC we were giving them daily briefings, often twice a day, plus spot forecasts if they needed them, and hydrologic forecasts, which I was working on with the River Forecast Center in Portland. Then the State Emergency Coordination Center we were doing twice a day briefings and forecast updates. And then I took part in the Lincoln County Winter Storm team to answer public questions. I went up there and kind of provided support for those. They were doing kind of a roundtable, loosely speaking. And I was able to provide help for hydrologic questions and how to get our forecasts and stuff like that. We also put together an executive weather summary that was written by 4 of us in the office that was submitted to Montana DES for the purpose of a presidential declaration. And then ongoing, I'm still putting research into the high water marks with the USGS, the discharge readings for the local rivers that aren't gauged, and then other types of stuff that goes on behind the scene to try and make flooding a little bit better up there without river gauges. And finally, moving forward, that slide didn't add, I wondered. I added a slide, but it was the soil moisture, but just take my word for it, it went from dry to wet. And that's where it contributed to a lot of tree fall because the soil was so moist. But what does that mean? That means if we don't see any snow, the soil is, what I'm saying, let me back up. If we don't see any snow below 6,000 feet, where we're missing most of it, for the rest of the winter, and I don't think that we'll lack, I just don't think, we're running out of time to accumulate it. But above 6,000 feet, we're doing okay. If we don't see any snow at our mid elevations and lower, the soil will pull that moisture and we'll be back to a deficit by spring. In the areas where the soil is moist and there's snowpack on top, it'll create more efficient runoff for the spring season, which means that there won't be a whole lot to soak in. It'll go straight into our rivers. So we're going to have kind of an interesting spring setting up of where there's snow, how low down the snow is, and what it's going to do for runoff when it does melt. So I will start doing monthly water supply outlooks starting in February. I'll do one once a month, and if it looks like we're going to be in trouble or there's reason to notify people more often, I'll do them twice a month, and we'll do calls if need be. So right now, the rest of the winter, next 2 weeks look cool, finally, and wet, but the next 7 days are dry. It's pitiful. But after that, it does look like it wants to change. What's really driving this is convection in the far, far, far West Pacific, and it's bumped everything over slightly from where it should be during a La Nina. We're supposed to have the trough that the East has had, and the high pressure is supposed to be further, like, west of here, and everything's been nudged. So we're stuck until the Madden-Julian oscillation decides to move, and it's looking like it wants to move. So that's the far Pacific, that's all that nonsense. So there's hope, but we're running out of time. And that's all I have from the National Weather Service. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. Next item on our agenda is emergency alerts issued this quarter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the last quarter from October through December, ending New Year's Eve, we have only had 4 emergency alerts, which is the lowest number we've had in memory, and that's really for 2 incidents. So there was a missing 10-year-old alert, and then a cancellation of that alert when that 10-year-old was located, and then a law enforcement shelter-in-place alert on New Year's Eve, and the cancellation of that alert when the situation was resolved.
Thank you, sir. Now's the time that we kind of go around the table with a number of LEPC standing committees for their reports or updates. First one on the deck here is IMT Oversight Committee.
So the committee didn't meet, but I have a report on the deployments since the last LEPC meeting. The Western Montana All Hazards Incident Management Team deployed to Lincoln County and worked in the Lincoln County EOC for 9 days. Prior to them arriving, Randy and 2 other emergency managers went up there to get them situated for a couple days or help them, get things cooled down a little bit. I don't think it was cooled down by the time we showed up, but they did everything they could and ordered more resources, which was important, and talked to them about what resources they might need. It's hard to see that when you're in the middle of the fire up there. So they ordered our team up there. We arrived on Sunday, the December 14th, and took command of the incident on Monday morning, the next morning at 0800. So that was following the atmospheric river that Leanne just talked about. On the first day, it was a really interesting assignment, and on the first day, the Lower Flower Creek Dam, the integrity of the dam was compromised, and so we were told that there was a potential for an imminent dam failure 10 hours into our deployment. Thankfully, that didn't happen. We were able to lower dam levels and take some of the positive pressure off the dam that was causing a boil off to the side of the dam. This would have been problematic for a number of reasons, not the least of which, if there was a dam failure, it would have gone through the town of Libby if it was at full pull and impacted a couple hundred homes. But also, it is the municipal water supply up there, so it would have ended their water supply. But we were able to figure out a quick fix to that. We had the Army Corps of Engineers up there helping us with thoughts on that. And we, of course, had the local folks, the local engineers working on that as well. And we were able to not fully resolve that situation, but certainly take the emergent aspect out of it. Additionally, there were 9 bridges damaged or destroyed up there. So there was a lot of also roads washed out and some landslides. It was the municipal water supply, although it wasn't compromised, it wasn't taken out, but it was compromised and remains to this day. There is a boil order in effect for organic materials, that's bacteria and those kind of things. And so the residents of Libby are continuing to boil water and use bottled water. But while we were up there, there was a concern for inorganics, so heavy metals coming out from the flood, coming from the mining activities upstream from the flood. Had to wait a couple days to get DEQ to, not to get DEQ to test, but for the results of the test from DEQ. And it turned out that there were not inorganic materials in the water supply, which was a big relief because it's one very inconvenient thing to boil water. It's another much more inconvenient thing to say, do not consume water under any circumstances. So that passed. Then the windstorm occurred. Just luckily for Lincoln County, they happened to have an incident management team on hand when they had a second disaster occur. And that, of course, caused power outages up there as it did all around western Montana. The rural electric co-ops were hustling to get power restored, but it takes a while. It takes a while in the best of circumstances, but they're able to get things done a little more efficiently when it's not widespread because they can concentrate their resources in certain areas. This was a widespread power outage event, so there weren't as many extra resources to help restore power. So it took a good while to get that settled. Another thing that occurred there that I hope occurs in the future, in future disasters, is that we had a recovery team from the state of Montana there, and we had flood managers doing damage assessments, substantial damage assessments, and initial damage assessments right off the bat. And we've never had that quick of a response before, and I think that will be a good model going forward. Recovery starts while response is still occurring. So we all shared the Emergency Operations Center up there, the Army Corps of Engineers, the DES recovery team, state DES recovery team, and our incident management team, along with the locals being integrated into all those activities. So it was a difficult disaster, but a fascinating disaster, and it went by in sort of a textbook manner. We had the Red Cross up there handing out water and food. Really did a good job with them doing that. We appreciate their partnership. They are important to be there at times like that. So that was great. Trees down everywhere. As Missoulians, we've seen this in the last couple of years. It was more of the same, trees down everywhere. We sent saw teams out from the DNRC and the Forest Service to open up roads. But additionally, the public were out there with their chainsaws. There's probably more chainsaws per capita up in Lincoln County than just about anywhere. And so they were able to make fairly quick work of opening roads, which of course is critical to getting emergency responders in and out of places. Let's see, Bull Lake, there was a log jam that came and butted up against the Ross Creek Cedars Bridge, closing that bridge for a few days and requiring either an evacuation or shelter in place, your choice, for the west side of the lake and the south end of the lake. The bridge's structural integrity was compromised, and we were able to resolve that, and that opened after about a week. So they're in a good spot with that there. That's all I have for that assignment for the IMT for now.
Thanks, sir. The next update comes from the Access and Functional Needs Committee.
So Julia Gore from the Health Department was going to give both the Access and Functional Needs Committee and the Health Emergency Advisory Team, the HEAT team, updates, but she can't be there, so she's sent some updates to me to provide. So the Access and Functional Needs Committee will meet with Smart 911, that's our emergency alerting platform, in February, and she just says, if you have feedback on the program in general, and specifically the safety profile aspect of the program, please feel free to join on February 3rd. You can contact Julia or anyone from our office to get the meeting information for that. So that emergency alerting software has the capability of people creating safety profiles that pop up on a dispatcher's screen, and their Smart 911 is looking to revamp that function of their software. For the heat meeting, Julia says, our community continues to test for and monitor several infectious diseases, most notably Group A strep. Missoula Public Health will be providing wound care kits to the community. If that is of interest to your organization, contact Julia. So those are the two updates we have for access and functional needs and heat.
Thank you again, Nick. It notes here on our agenda the December 17th windstorm.
December 17th windstorm. Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, Randy has that.
And Randy's got a wonderful update.
Good afternoon, Randy Ocon, Office of Emergency Management. So, big shout out to our friends at the National Weather Service. That relationship's been amazing over my 5 years with OEM and just keeps getting better, which I don't know how it can get better, but I'm loving it. The 16th, 15th, we were notified from our Weather Service friends that there's a potential bad day coming. 16th, more information come out with a statewide call focusing on each kind of geographic area, which was really beneficial. It allowed us time to engage our partners in the emergency response, utilities community, the hospitals, to have them jump on the call. So we're all hearing the same message from our Weather Service friends. Really good information about Missoula. What it did for me was also understand that the whole state was going to have a bad day, which means we don't get resources from other parts of the state. Everybody's going to be in a little bit of crunch for resources. So we're going to be more more self-reliant. So we had a really good briefing, discussions with the power companies on their plans to bolster up, working with the fire departments. They were hiring extra crews. I believe the police department upstaffed ahead of this, understanding that the potential was there. And then also worked with the agencies on the day previous, that there would be a potential we'd open the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, located in the basement of this building. And that came from a lesson we learned in the July 24 storm, where in our AAR after action review, we identified that we opened that. We could have opened it sooner and provided support for the community and the responders. So kind of pre-planned that to open up if we hit benchmarks. And early that morning, we all came into the office early, except our friends that were up in Lincoln County helping them out. So we came into the office early, and things started getting busy about that 8, 9 o'clock. Wind started happening. We were in contact with emergency services out in Frenchtown. They experienced it first. And so pretty quickly, when we saw that call volume ramp up, we opened the Emergency Operations Center, sent an invite to those key players, and thank you so much to all the agencies that showed up. It was amazing for us to have everybody in the room having those discussions about what they were experiencing, what their needs were, and how we were sharing resources. So that went really well. Unfortunately, at that same exact time, we experienced a major malfunction in our 911 system. So having the players in the room that needed to respond to back up our dispatch center that was having issues receiving calls was key for us for that kind of 20, 25-minute window where we had issues receiving 911 calls. So we were able to coordinate that internally the best we could. So that worked out really well. I think my feeling from in the room is that first hour was fairly busy, and then it settled out, and we might have got, not bored, but we might have got like, okay, what are we doing here? And I really put that towards, we were all in the room, we were all doing things, and we solved problems so quickly that the rest of the day, and the wind stopped, thank you. The rest of the day smoothed out for us. So it was a strong activation for us, strong commitment from our partners in coordination, and started with the Weather Service providing us those updates 2 or 3 times during the day. I called and asked for a quick Teams, and I don't know why you said yes, but you kept saying yes. And so to hear, you saw the equation she put up on the board earlier to get her fancy calculations and dumb it down to a firefighter helps us so immensely. And so getting them on the phone, and we can look at the websites and wander around in there, but to get them on the phone is invaluable for us. So thanks to the Weather Service supporting the flood up in Lincoln County, and then what we're trying to do here. Any questions?
Thanks, Randy. Next item on our agenda involves grant updates.
So Jerry Sarabia is going to provide some updates for us on the CWDG and the BLM grant, and then we'll go to the other grants.
Good afternoon, everybody. Filling in for Tim today. So Missoula County Fuels Mitigation Program, we have 3 grants. One is the CWDG grant from the Forest Service, Community Wildfire Defense Grant, which was $4.8 million. Coming up on our first year, we're at $1 million spent, and doing pretty good. A lot of projects still going on in the winter, and planning a pretty busy spring, working with a lot of neighborhoods. Olivia's come on board as our education person, and so we're fully staffed now and moving forward with that. The Community Wildfire Protection Plan kicked off today. It's through a contractor out of California. It's about a 1.5-year timeline. It's going to include the Forest Service, BLM, DNRC, TNC, a lot of people. Pretty much anybody doing any fuels projects in the next few years and stuff, and then there'll be some local public people also involved in those discussions and getting that plan put together for a 1.5 years out. We also have a BLM grant, about $75,000 a year. Year 1 spent, we're funded year 2. And if everybody doesn't know, there's been a big shift in Department of Interior, new Wildland Fire Service. So we'll see on year 3s and 4 how that spans out. We have some DNRC federal or Forest Action Plan grants. However, those have all been, the 2 we have are completed, and there's no more being issued, and unknown if they're going to continue with that with some of the federal funding. I think that's it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. And so we also have the Homeland Security Grant, which is currently in a holding pattern at the federal level, and the notice of funding has not been released for this year yet. We have the CPR grant. We received an extension on that grant. It's been renewed for another year so that we can continue to promote Pulse Point. That's our CPR app that you can download and put on your phone and get training for, and get notified when there's an event near you that you might be able to help with. And then there's the HMGP grant, and we have 2 applications for that in. One to update the city-county climate resilience plan, and the other for heat and smoke mitigation plan. So that's our updates on grants, Ben.
Thank you, sir. Next up on the agenda is upcoming trainings and exercises.
So for trainings, we have ICS 300, Incident Command System 300 and 400. Those are 2 in-person trainings set for, I think it's the week of April 21st, somewhere in there. There was a notice sent out the other day for that with a sign-up link. If you did not receive that, contact me or somebody else in the office, and we can get that to you right away. They're really great trainings, especially ICS 300, and they're prerequisites for a lot of other things in Incident Command if you're intending to move on there. We have a FEMA tabletop exercise coming up is it March? March. And we met with FEMA today. It's a tabletop. It's going to be a 2-day exercise at the Election Center. More will be coming out for that for cooperating agencies and stakeholders. And we'll be in touch. So look forward to that. We participated in the Painted Rocks Dam tabletop down in Hamilton back in November, on November 5th. And that was just a look at what a dam failure might look like from Painted Rocks and how long it might take to get to Missoula and what kind of impacts we might expect. It takes a little while, up to almost 24 hours to get downstream to us. So there would be a little bit of warning time, but it would be an impactful event. That's it for now, Ben.
Thank you, sir. Local and statewide hazmat incidents since our last LEPC meeting. Mr. Okan.
Thank you. Don't have a full account. The only one I'm aware at is the CERT and the CST, sorry, the Civil Support Team, Guard Unit out of Helena, and the Missoula Regional Hazmat Team spent 4 days at the university, 3 or 4 days. 4 days at the university, assisting in some bad stuff cleanup. Planned event that went really well. Provided some good training opportunities for our resources and exercise.
Thank you, sir. And if you are curious more about that event, please check at least Missoula Fire's Facebook page, and they've provided some public information about such an event. And thank you guys for handling that fantastically. I'm told there was some stuff that could have gone boom that did not, which is wonderful outcome. An update about the regional hazmat meeting from November 9th.
Don't have any information on that, but if anybody has any questions, they can get a hold of us and we'll dig that up.
So the last item we have here on our agenda is a roundtable or any other business.
So we do have a little treat for everybody today. In lieu of the community preparedness meeting that we normally have during this LEPC meeting, we are going to provide tours of our mobile command vehicle, which is parked right out to the west of us. And so everybody's welcome to come and check out our new vehicle. It's been a couple years in the making, and it's finally here. So I'll pass the mic around for other roundtables.
I'm good.
Just to tag on to Nick's in the mobile command vehicle. So it is a Missoula County Office of Emergency Management hosts that for your benefit. So if you are an agency, a resource, a non-governmental agency in the county that has a need for a warm place, out of the weather, Wi-Fi, TV, radio connectivity, either a planned event or unplanned event, it's available for you to use. So come out, take a look at it, and ask us.
I don't have anything.
Does anybody have anything as opposed to pass?
Hi, Winnie Lohoff with the Red Cross. If you have a business card, please give it to me. But also, we are planning some preparedness events for the spring and summer, especially targeting the areas that have been most recently affected by disasters. So for example, we'll be doing something up in Mineral County coming up, hopefully. But please give me a call if you have any questions or anything. As the Red Cross, we are a resource for you, and we're here to fill any gaps that you may need filled. So please give me a call if you need anything.
As an underground utility, just a reminder, if you're going to be digging, please call 811. We're happy to come show you where everything is. Appreciate it.
Well, with that, I believe we're at a point to bring our formal meeting to a close. Thank you all for joining. Our next meeting, I believe, is scheduled for Tuesday, April 14th. Same bat time, same location, or check emails for any updates. With that, the mobile command center is available outside as fast as Randy can probably beat feet over there to show you where it's at. Thank you and have a great day.